is because we just concluded an internal investigation on one of our employees that has accessed license plate readers back in April. On April 19th, we were made aware two different ways. This employee was looking for a family member, and he had actually called another jurisdiction, the city of Casa Grande, to report a welfare check. During that welfare check, he mentioned to the Casa Grande Police Department that he had used our license plate reading technology and had accessed it and saw that her vehicle was in Casa Grande. When that happened, Casa Grande PD notified our agency immediately and did everything they could to give us as much information. And at the same time, this employee had also gone up to our dispatchers and had asked for them to check the license plate reader as well to see if they could access it, to see if they can do a welfare, so he could do a welfare check on his family member as well. When this was done, the dispatchers notified the supervisor also, and again, we immediately put this employee, the officer, on administrative leave, and we started an internal investigation. All of his access to all of the equipment, to all of our databases, everything was restricted, and he was no longer able to access anything. When we concluded this investigation 2 weeks ago, at the conclusion of this investigation, the officer did resign, but had he not resigned, he would have been terminated. We understand what's going on out there with this type of technology. We understand our officers, our profession is held to a very high standard. There's no other profession that is held to this high of a standard. When they blur the lines or they blur their judgment, regardless of what's going on in their personal lives, they have to speak for their actions and they have to be held accountable. And this officer was a good officer. There's no doubt about it. And there's questions that may come up on who this officer was. His name was Officer Joshua McDaniels. He was with us for about 1.5 years, 2 years maybe. A newer officer, a military veteran, again, a great individual, and it's a shame that this happened. But my job as the police chief is to build trust, and this department is to build trust with our community. We want people to know that we are given certain privileges to help keep this city safe, that we have this type of technology that is being scrutinized, and we will not allow any of our employees to tarnish this type of privilege for any personal reasons whatsoever. Our policy does state that anytime this information is accessed, it's used for a legitimate law enforcement purpose. It's used for, it can be associated with a crime, that can be associated with an investigation that we're actively using. We also have started doing weekly audits. We do weekly audits on all of our staff that have access to this, and we go over who is accessing LPR data, license plate reader data, and how often they're doing it, and what type of investigations they're using. I think this goes to show also that other agencies are very aware of this. When Casa Grande Police Department was made aware of this, without hesitation, they informed us. And at my level, the chief level, across the state, we're having these conversations. We're talking about this and how important it is that we're sharing this information with one another, especially not only for criminal investigations, but if there's an investigation that we believe is blurring the lines, we're going to notify those other agencies. The question may be asked on, is this a criminal investigation? It is not. Right now, there is no state law that makes this would be considered a criminal investigation. In law enforcement, we have access to criminal history. We have access to a lot of things that are information that people are apprehended on, or even driver's license information, social security numbers. If an officer were to access that information for a personal reason, it's considered a Class 6 felony. Right now, our law does not have this. And I can tell you, as chiefs, we believe there should be safe, guardrails for this type of technology. As technology continues to evolve, we're just right now at the point where it's just really becoming not only used, but people are aware of it. And we want guardrails. We want our officers and our staff to know that if you use this type of technology, in a way that it's not meant for, you are going to be held responsible. Right now, it's not a crime. In my opinion, should it be? Absolutely. I would love to see that if this was accessed intentionally for personal use, it should be a crime. And that's speaking for Mike Pooley, the Chief of Police for the Apache Junction Police Department. Right now, it's not. So the most that we can do is we can make sure that this individual no longer works for our department and that the community knows we acted on it immediately and we did not hesitate whatsoever. Again, it hurts my heart to see one of our employees do this. I've been a big advocate of this type of technology, and I continue to be a supporter of this technology. We are not changing our use of it right now. I know other agencies have gone away from this, and here in the city of Apache Junction right now, we are going to still continue to use this technology. We're working with other law enforcement agencies. I apologize. We're working with other law enforcement agencies to make sure we're all on the same page with this. Other Pinal County departments, other East Valley and agencies around the state are having these conversations from the chief level all the way down to line level officers. So I know there may be a lot of questions, so I'll open it up and I'll probably hit on a few other things.
Yeah, can you tell me, so this was a welfare check, what details can you provide? And had this officer gone through the proper chain of commands,
Good question.
Could this have been in something okay to search?
So this was, the question was if this was a welfare check, if he had gone through the other means of doing a welfare check by calling that local agency, would he have been in trouble? Absolutely not. He would have been fine. He did not need to take things into his own hands. There's no reason for that. He lives in another city. If he was truly concerned for this family member, he should have contacted that jurisdiction and they would have taken it from there. Unfortunately, he did not, and he was not thinking and appropriately. And that's why I can speak to this now. The investigation's over. He's resigned, and I can give you that information, yes.
Can you tell me who the family member was?
It was his wife.
Was there some kind of divorce or some kind of larger issue at play?
Yeah, the question was there a larger issue on his family member? Yes, there was. There was a lot of things that have been going on. And to be honest with you, this officer, he was the officer that tried to save Officer Facio last year. He was gone through a lot over the last year. Again, that is not an excuse for why he did what he did, and I'm not making an excuse, but it is part of the facts. And he really did go through a lot. Last year, he was the officer that drove Officer Facio to the hospital. And we've been trying to get him some services and trying to get him some help. Is it fair that he's in this position? I guess everybody's going to have a different answer. For me, my job, I have to look at what's before me and what he did in that instance, and it was inappropriate.
Are these flock cameras?
They are.
Was this welfare check, was there actual concern about their well-being, or was this potentially stalking or harassment like we've seen in other communities?
Again, we don't have the exact information on whether it was a legitimate purpose. We know they were having issues and there were things that were going on in their personal lives. And we do know that he accessed this when he should not have accessed it.
You mentioned you have not the biggest department in the state, and that you know this is a good officer. You mentioned the history here. What was that conversation like when this first came to your desk?
I was very upset when I found out about it. We were notified immediately. And again, I got a phone call from my commander who notified me of the breach of the system and the misuse of the system. And immediately we put this officer on administrative leave. And there were a lot of other things that were going on outside of this that we had to make sure that we were looking at his own welfare and things that were going on in his life. So for me, it was a delicate measure. You know, I wanted to make sure that we're being open, but at the same time trying to protect an individual as well to help him get through this.
Why disclose this now? You said it's been a couple weeks since the officer resigned, a couple weeks since the internal investigation ended. Why today?
So the investigation did just end, and we wanted to make sure we had everything that we can talk about. And right now, we are trying to get you as much of the information and trying to share it and not try to hide anything from the public. Good question, thank you.
Can you talk about the flocking cameras and how that's helped the department as far as
Yeah.
resources and keeping people out of it?
Yeah, so there's a lot of information about flock cameras or license plate readers. There's a lot of different brands. This is a new technology that's out there. Flock is what people know license plate readers as. There's multiple brands you can look up, and they all do a lot of the same things. How we look at it here, we brought this technology. I've been here as the chief for about 4.5 years. About 4 years ago, when I came here, I wanted to bring this technology because we saw how successful it is. We saw how it was helping us solve cases, helping us identify suspects that would have gone unidentified in crimes. And it's continued to show how beneficial it was. An example is about 2 months ago, we had a turquoise alert where a 13-year-old girl that had just turned 13 had gone missing. This license plate reading technology is what helped us to be able to, in this case, as well as help from the public. And this young girl was taken by a 68-year-old individual, stranger, completely unknown, who nobody would have known anything on where this girl was had we not issued a turquoise alert and had license plate reading technology. So that's when I weigh the benefits. I look at cases. My concern is to have people trust the law enforcement. We are out in the community trying to answer questions, trying to share what we're doing, and trying to build this rapport and trust. Are we perfect? No, we're not. I have yet to find a police department that is completely perfect. We are full of human beings that make bad decisions sometimes. My job and the job of our department is to make sure we hold those individuals accountable when they make those poor decisions, like this case.
Can you tell us how many flock cameras Apache Junction has?
Yeah, we have, I believe it's 35-ish, give or take a few.
And you mentioned that you do internal audits of who's accessing that data. Can you tell us how often that happens, and have there been any other issues, or have you changed how you're, evaluating all of that?
Yeah, the question is kind of how have we changed and what do the audits look like? Right now, the license plate reading technology company that we use, they have an audit assist, which again, it tells us everybody that's accessing it uses AI to say there's an anomaly between this officer. This officer has looked at this license plate X amount of times, 10, 15 times over the last couple of days. What that generates is an alert to us, and we look at it and we dig into why is that officer accessing that. Anytime an officer or a staff member that has access to this technology gets into the system, they have to log a report number as well as a reason why they are accessing this data. If it's not there, it won't run the system. Excuse me. So we check that audit assist on a weekly basis. We have 2 people that are dedicated to doing that. We look at it and we make sure that it's being used accordingly within our policy. Some of the other things that we're looking at right now is unless it's an active investigation, our officers, if they're doing follow-up, they got to get permission from a supervisor. They got to let a supervisor know why are they getting in this, and it's going to be logged in the system. When we do our weekly audits, we'll be able to make sure our officers are following that guidance as well.
So if he didn't have a report number that was legitimate here, how was he able to make these searches?
So they created a welfare check report number for that.
The Knox County Sheriff Ross Teeple recently canceled the PCSO's contract with Flock. I know you said you're not going away with that, but has there been any internal discussion about going away with these cameras? What is that? Has there been any discussion like that?
There's been a lot of discussion, absolutely. There's a lot of discussion on what Sheriff Teeple said. I don't agree completely with it, what he said. And Sheriff Teeple and I are friends, but we disagree on that. I don't believe it's a Fourth Amendment violation. I don't believe that we are not upholding the Constitution. I believe we are still, our job is to keep the city safe. Our job is to make sure we're open and honest with the communication with our residents and the people that we serve here in the city of Apache Junction. And there's been a lot of discussion. Our elected officials, they're involved in these discussions. And if the decision were ever to come to get rid of them, that would be the decision that I would have to support. Right now, I am a big in favor of this technology because of how I've seen it used to solve crimes. When you're sitting across the table or in a room with a victim that's been victimized, another case we had where a young girl had met somebody online just recently, about maybe 3-4 weeks ago, complete stranger. The adult male was in his late 30s, lived in another city, met a 13 or 14-year-old girl online, started texting her, getting information, coaxed her to come out of her house, and he picked her up. Her parents, being good parents, noticed that she was gone, and they were able to get us some video of different things that were around their house, and we were able to see the vehicle that was there. With that, we were able to identify the vehicle, and we were able to identify the suspect, and find out where he was and get her back safe. So when we're using that, that's what this is for. Again, this is not used for civil traffic violations. There is no facial recognition. There is nowhere that we track people, individuals, for any reason other than if they have committed a crime. And that's what we're going to continue to do.
So if somebody has a warrant out for their arrest, this will trigger if they're driving past it?
It will not. So the question was, will this trigger if somebody has a warrant? Will it trigger? No, it will not. All it does is it takes the back picture of a vehicle, the license plate, and it gives us, if it's stolen, if the vehicle's stolen, or if we have a person that's missing that was entered into like a safe alert. If somebody is suffering from dementia and they go missing in another jurisdiction, their license plate is put into the criminal database. And even though it's not a crime, it's a way for officers to be alerted. That would trigger an alert, an immediate alert. And we have actually found multiple people here in the city of Apache Junction that were suffering from dementia, that were lost and had been entered in as a safe alert, or before it was called that, was a silver alert.
So when residents hear about this and they have concerns, what's your message to them?
My message is I hope that we can come together and understand how the Apache Junction Police Department is using this technology. We are not trying to hide anything. We want people to know we're trying to keep this city safe. We are doing everything we can to make sure that we put this message out, to build relationships with our youth, with our elderly, and everybody in between. It doesn't matter what you look like, what religion you are, what political affiliation you align with. Our job is to be neutral and to keep you safe. We want to continue to do that, and we want to use this technology to help us do that. It's a force multiplier, and I hope that here in the city of Apache Junction, you understand that and feel that.
Is it exclusively the cameras that you have exclusively for AJ, or is it connected to all the other ones throughout the state?
So we don't have, and these cameras are not monitored 24/7. It's a picture in time that we can access if we have a reason to access that. We have the ability to check with other agencies. We don't see their cameras, but if we're looking for a suspect of a crime and we want to know if they have gone anywhere in the state of Arizona, we can do that. We share with just over 60 agencies only in the state of Arizona, local, county, and state officials, and that's it. We don't share with federal agencies or anybody out of state of Arizona, here in the Apache Junction Police Department.
You mentioned there's a lot of discussions around the use of these in general, but has this incident triggered a specific review of how officers can actually access the information?
Absolutely. The question is, has this triggered discussion on how we access this, or how officers access this? Absolutely. We already have looked at what is being used, how it's being used, which is why we now do this audit assist every week. Now we have supervisories. One of our supervisors is going to have to approve any searches as well, unless it's an active, ongoing case.
When were those guardrails put in place?
Immediately after. The supervisory one is fairly recent. It's, again, we listen to a lot of our elected officials, and one of our elected officials says, hey, is this something you can implement? We looked at it and we said, yeah, we could. Again, is it a perfect system? No, we're still trying to put this system together. We're still trying to put how we can be better at it without losing it. We don't want to lose the trust of the people. That is, for me, is one of the most important things. Without the people, the police can't do our job.
Why didn't you go to the people to ask the people to vote for these cameras?
Well, that's a good question, and one of the things that we're trying to do is get out there with people, and we're trying to have these discussions. Because I think a lot of the information is misrepresented on what these cameras are doing.
Who is in control of monitoring the monitors?
We are, I am.
So can it be hacked?
No, it cannot. I actually would like to talk to you. I actually tried calling you earlier, so,
Okay, I would like to talk to you as well.
okay. Any other questions?
Just for clarity, you said the investigation wrapped up about 2 weeks ago. Just when did the incident occur, and then when exactly did that investigation wrap up?
So we were notified of this on April 19th, and we immediately started the investigation that next day and put the officer on administrative leave. And we concluded a couple weeks ago, and when he resigned is when what we were waiting for.
And those additional checks that you put in place, did those come, to be clear, they didn't come in response to that incident? They came prior to it or after it?
It was kind of a combination of both. And so what had happened is the new Audit Assist actually just was developed within the last couple of months, right after our officer had accessed this when he wasn't supposed to.
Is that Audit Assist provided by Flock?
It is, yes. And it's really good, actually. The Audit Assist has really helped us to keep track of our officers that are accessing this and why they're accessing it.
And then you have internal supervisors also doing
Correct.
audit along with that?
Correct. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. We appreciate it.